and welcome to episode 577 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, a place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. My name is Vince Hunt, and even after pretty much 11 years, I still look at my script every time I do this intro. I don't know why, because I'm always joined by the artist and creator of Vanguard, the wonderful webcomic that rips faces off and gets readers old and new into it all the time. And it's just, I cannot wait for the finale. And it's coming from Daniel Butcher, isn't it?
Hello, yes, it is.
Yes.
I was doing more plotting today.
It's going to be
a spectacular finish with
Dan.
Dan.
It's a great finish.
Will it be a happy ending?
Yes and no.
Yes.
As always.
Of course it won't be.
Yeah.
How do you like your endings, Tony Esmond?
Messy.
Happy.
And usually with me sort of crying.
Yeah. Unfulfilling?
Well, let's face it, they always are, aren't they? Lights out, under the covers, on my own.
Hang on, what are we talking about? I was talking about endings, like story endings. What were you talking about?
I was talking about jizzing.
Of course. And that's the sort of high quality.
Yeah.
That's the sort of high quality content you can expect for the next hour and a half to 2 hours of the Awesome Comics Podcast. Your place to go for comics chatter. It's the three amigos, and we're just having fun this week. And as always,
that's like the ending. That's like the ending there.
Yeah. Tony Esmond on this audio show is always showing things on camera that no one will ever see.
That's an issue of Toxic.
And comics.
That's the end. That's the Is it the Driver? What's that one called?
Yeah, I've been cataloguing my Toxic issues today, and it's doing that.
That was never collected, right? I
don't think it was. There's a story about you in here, Dan.
Sex warrior.
The sex warrior. Nice. And it's a sexy show this week. We've got loads of comics to talk about. We're not really a news show, but we've got a comics creation question that we posed each other and then posed to the lovely ACP community out there. So stay tuned for that. But Tony, why have you got a cake with candles on it? What's that all about?
Because 2 weeks ago, I think it's 2 weeks ago, we missed our birthday.
Really?
We missed our 11th birthday.
Whoa.
Yeah.
11 years.
11 years.
11 years of this.
So I thought I would look back, as we don't have a guest this week, I thought I'd look back and see what comics were hot and selling the most in July 2015.
Yeah, 2015, folks. For those lovely new listeners, perhaps you've only been listening for a couple of weeks, perhaps this is your first episode. Yeah, we've been doing this for a while, and somehow there's always something to talk about, isn't there, when it comes to the wonderful world of comics?
Yes, God, yeah.
But when I decided to get really nervous on the first show and click a pen, when all three of us decided to talk to each other properly for the first time ever, and no one ever realised that, because it seems like we've been governors for years.
And everyone who thought we were in the same room all those years, remember?
Yeah.
That time I went for a piss when the guest was talking so much.
Yeah. And all these secrets no one will ever know.
That time I fell asleep.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, since we moved to Zoom, though, there's a certain amount of, because we're always here now, isn't it? When it was Skype, when it was just our voices.
Just audio, wasn't it? Of course it was.
Just audio. So we were all naked for the first 6 years, weren't we, really?
Yeah, I never could see you guys, could I?
We were all naked, right? Wasn't just...
Some of us are in... 2 out of 3 of us are in different houses. Yeah. You two were in different houses back then, weren't you?
Yeah. Wow.
You've moved and everything since then.
Wow.
Yeah, Christ, yeah.
Dan's lost his virginity at least 3 times.
Yeah.
So
he lost it, found it again, then lost it. You should put one of those Apple tags on it so you don't lose it, so you know where to find it.
Got no response for that.
Yeah.
Can't come back from that.
I can't really talk because over 11 years I've been absolutely ripped to shreds in so many different ways. I've forgotten how to put myself back together again. But what happened in comics in July?
What was happening then?
Was it July? Did we start?
Yeah, it was the first week of July, wasn't it?
Wow.
I know this because it was a question at the 500. Do you remember you asked?
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? Oh yeah, it was a question that I asked. Fucking hell, that says a little bit.
I can't remember any of the answers to. What were the comics that gone?
Yeah.
Right, so shall I give you some clues?
So where does this come from? Does this come from publication or just internet research?
Internet research.
Okay.
ChatGPT. Yeah. Right, so market share. Any guesses at who was first, the biggest market share at the time?
Oh, in 2015, Marvel.
Marvel by a big
Yeah,
load.
Right, okay.
41.5%.
I think, yeah, because obviously the movies were going by then, weren't they?
And the TV series is really popular. We'd had Daredevil at that point, I think, hadn't we? Stuff like that.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., all that lot.
Yeah. It's so long ago, but
God,
it seems so
yeah.
recent, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
DC were at 24%, so almost half of what Marvel were.
Yeah.
Which
Bloody
is pretty
hell.
impressive. Any guess on third?
Dark Horse.
I'll go Image.
Dark Horse were fifth at
I was
3.36.
going to say the obvious one for me was Image, but
Image at 10.7% and IDW at 5.2.
that's 3 and 4.
5.3.
Wow.
Yeah. So times have changed with IDW, haven't they?
Big time.
Gotcha. And DC. I would say.
Well, absolute, as we like to call them now.
Yeah. Well, and also with Vertigo. Do you know what I mean? I would say, as someone was in the life of this show, lifelong Marvel boy. Do you know what I mean? I didn't read them all the time, and I certainly don't read them now. But to witness the counterbalance of sort of story quality and the feeling towards a company tip. It feels like DC is the hotness now, but not just it's one series that's doing it. It feels like there's good vibes coming.
There's good buzz. I think you got absolute buzz, Batman. I think Martian Manhunter, that series ended this week, didn't it? Absolute Martian Manhunter, and I've yet to read it. To be fair, I've read most of the other ones, but other people have been saying how great.
Absolute praise for that fucking Martian Manhunter.
Really?
Yeah. There was some. Did you see this Spider-Man comic that was on social media this week with a guy flicking through the latest issue of Absolute Spider-Man? There's no Spider-Man in it. It's essentially this all talking heads.
Yeah, that is from a special, I think. That's where it comes from. There's like the end of the Ultimate Universe special. And that's from the Spider-Man story, which I have traditionally quite liked in that universe.
Yeah.
But the Spider-Man story is literally just about the parents going to school and finding out their kids mucking about.
Right.
That's what it's about. It's like 15 pages.
And people they were lamenting, saying the fact that a Martian Manhunter comic is outselling the core Spider-Man title, and I said, well, Martian Manhunter at the moment is fucking like the hotness. Everyone's talking about
Riley
it.
Rossmo? Is that still Riley Rossmo?
I think is that right?
I don't know.
I remember now.
It started with
Javier Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Is it? No, I don't. We'll have to find out.
Yeah,
it looks good. It's one of those ones.
I've not read it, so yeah.
No, I've not read it either. It initially looked a bit like design over concept, but I actually think it probably is. It's a bit of both, which I think works brilliantly from what I hear. I'm looking forward to it. It's all on the. It's about to be all on the DC app.
DC
so I'm going to
app.
read it. I'm going to read
Give
it.
it a go.
Yeah.
If it was really good,
what's the DC app like? Because
I love it.
I know we've talked about the Marvel one, where whatever's going to happen to that in the coming.
I know.
years.
I'm worried about that.
But if I was to jump into like
the DC app, if you get the right
publisher.
If you get the right tier, the DC app is a month behind what's on the shelves.
Wow.
Which is pretty good when you think that sometimes I might not get to the comic shop for 2 weeks. I might not read something for a week and a half. I might as well just wait for it on the digital. And it's changed slightly recently. You can read it in landscape now and scroll through it. It's a joy. I think the Marvel one's a joy as well. I love them both. So I read loads of comics on there.
The Marvel one is also
a big size iPad, so it's about the size of a comic page.
Yeah. Are they both like vaults as well with all the back issues?
Massively.
Really?
Not all of them, but there's things that are missing and things that do come and go. But there's absolute fucking shitloads on there. Yeah. They don't come and go like they do at Global Comics. They don't come and go on a cyclical nature. Yeah. They might come and go because we lost the license to Conan or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the nature of sort of online streaming and subscription content.
Yeah,
anyway. If you don't own it, then you are basically licensing it in a way, isn't it? That's the way it is.
I read so much in there, man.
I don't find myself reading too much of Global. I've got a sub for it still, but I'll fire it up once in a blue moon.
I'm always scouring, and also like Mad Cave are always good on there. So.
One of the few reasons I'm still on there is the day Mad Cave stuff.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Global at the moment is they front load all their pay-for ones.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of scroll about to find.
It seems like the first thing I go onto, I see the same stuff, and I'm just fuck's sake, I've got to fucking scroll through.
The new release stuff, because I'm always going to the new releases or the creator releases and stuff like that. I'm looking for these ones, and usually I've got to scroll past genre You know, like the annoying Netflix.
Yeah.
Whatever month it is this
yeah,
month.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's it's not really tailored to me. So it's just a pirate's life. Yeah, whatever. Okay. And all of this stuff, which is fair enough because there's probably great comics in there.
Oh, there are loads of great, including ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then when I go all new releases, and I click on it, and there's obviously got the thumbnails of all of them. Wonderful long screen, and then it's like, oh, I don't want to buy it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to look for the ones I don't have to buy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I still purchase comics on Comixology.
You do, don't you? I haven't bought anything for a while.
If I know that it's not going to hit there in a while. Do you know what I mean?
You want to read it?
Yeah, I've been stung a couple of times because I've bought something and then been like, fuck it, they actually
Fuck,
do
it's
release
on
it.
there.
Yeah. But there are books like, I'm loving G.I. Joe. I got caught up to issue 18.
Oh, nice.
And on the G.I. Joe, but it's still, it hasn't had a new batch yet of that.
No.
Right.
So, and they're on what?
No drop.
Are they
It's very irregular.
Are they in their 30s now? Are they late 20s?
I thought it was in mid to late 20s.
And then you've also got the the silent issues as well, haven't you, that have come out. So, yeah, I find them a bit irregular on the way that a lot of image books drop onto Global Comics because it's like, otherwise I would read a lot more on there, but I tend to buy it now. Yeah. Good. Okay, so should we do the...
it's cool. Tangent.
I've got
We
a list
tangented ourselves. So, July 2015.
I've got a list of either the single issues or the collections. What would you like to do first?
Go singles, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And play along at home, listeners. Even if you're a new listener, just and you don't necessarily know, have a guess because there will be pauses as me and Dan go, "Oh fuck!"
Oh
and
fuck!
Yeah. Get used to that.
Even now, I've gone completely and utterly blank. I can't fucking think of anything.
Here's a clue. There's one DC in the top 10. And Marvel at the time got a new license which heavily features in the top 10.
Okay.
From an outside product.
Okay, so a single issue's top 10, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Are we going to go, is it the new license Star Wars? Yeah.
Yeah, well done. So you might have to name the specific issues, though.
They did a Darth Vader one.
Yeah, that's in there. That's one.
Poe Dameron, is it?
No.
Is that on there? No.
How many Star Wars ones are in there?
There is 3. One is just Star Wars, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, because there was that Star Wars one they put in the loot crate. Or was that before? Do you remember when
that was before?
It was like, oh, we sold 1 million copies. You didn't really.
You didn't.
You
exactly.
You put them in loot crates.
So on the list there's Star Wars 7, you've got that, and Darth Vader 7, and there's one more, a little bit more niche Star Wars.
It's not a Boba Fett. Is it some weird thing like that?
Not quite weird. It's a fairly central character that didn't appear until
Lando Calrissian.
Lando, Star Wars Lando one.
Yeah.
The biggest seller is a event of the time, one that we read and talked about.
And there's a Marvel event.
Yeah.
That was before Krakoa, right? Or...
Yeah, well before. Krakoa
is it X-Men related?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't think so. It's more.
Was that the one where all the demons invaded New York or Symbiote?
No, is it?
They made a miniseries of it.
Is it
TV series?
Is it the high? Oh, Secret
Wars.
Secret Wars. Fucking hell! I can't believe it was fucking that old.
Secret Wars number 4. Yeah.
There's
also. I'm going to give you number 3 because it's Civil
Secret
War.
Wars. Is that what it was? Is that what it was
Secret
called?
Wars. Yeah.
As with the scroll.
Yeah, I think so. And then there's a Civil War one, which is a kind of another spin-off. It's not the original Civil War. So what we're left with is a DC, 3 Marvel, and I think it was an IDW. But the indie, let's call it the indie, is an established character newly refurbished and rebooted by Mark Waid and Fiona Staples. Got quite the hype at the time.
Sorry. Say it again.
It's the indie, or not the indie, the non-Marvel and DC issue is a staple of American comics. It was rebooted by Mark Waid and Fiona Staples in 2015, July. First issue. And it made it to number 7 in the top 10.
I wonder if I can get myself on here, this one.
He had 2 girlfriends and couldn't choose on which one.
Oh, Archie.
Well done. watching.
Oh yeah. It was Secret Invasion was the TV show. Secret Wars was.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
you're right.
That's why
Yeah,
I was like Secret Wars because that was the classic '80s one that then in 2015 Hickman did an epic Secret Wars, didn't they? Yeah.
So it had all different artists, and
Yeah.
it's the Hail Hydra, all that books. Okay, so then we've got a Spider-Man series, which you're not going to get, is Amazing Spider-Man: Renew Your Vows #2. That was #8. And then we've got Age of Apocalypse #1, which is a reboot of the and then we've got this you'd never get, Guardians of Nowhere #1.
Who was that? Was that Marvel?
Is that that's a spin-off from fucking Guardians of the Galaxy, isn't it?
Yeah.
When that big skull in space.
Okay.
Nowhere.
Oh yeah.
Let's try collections.
Okay.
Go on.
Come on in.
An X-Men title, I imagine.
Hang on,
no.
Look.
When you say collections, is this sort of like just
sort of graphic novels and trades?
Trade paperbacks and stuff.
Yeah, I think nearly all of them are. Apart from they're all collections.
A lot of them Image.
Couple. Yeah, a couple of them are.
God, I'm blanking on this one. This sounds really rough.
Is it? Oh my God! You know,
one's the biggest seller is a favourite of mine that became public property because the writer decided he didn't like DC anymore. Very recently.
Oh, Fables.
Fables, very good.
Oh yeah, that always Fables was like when we started. That was always around the top, wasn't it?
Yeah. One is a favourite of yours, Vince, about people who live in the southern states of America. Not very
Southern
nice
bastards.
People. Very good. One of them is volume 3 of a legacy character who turned out to be a mutant.
Not Marvel, Miss Marvel.
Yeah, volume 3. One is I'll say that one is by that person we fucking never mentioned, Sandman Overture Deluxe version. One is by Kieran Gillen.
One.
Yeah.
The Wicked and the Divine.
Very good. Volume 2.
Nice one.
That was the hotness. And is Saga in there?
Yeah, Saga's #6.
That's the one I was thinking. I couldn't think of the word, but I knew it was one word. Yeah. Is that the 2 Image ones? Or is there another Image?
I think that is the Image one's done. Yeah, yeah. One is he got a Matt Fraction, David Archer reboot.
Hawkeye
volume 4.
God, I remember that was great when that came out.
Yeah.
Came out, wasn't it? Yeah. Pizza Dog. I remember Pizza Dog. That was good.
Yeah. One you won't remember is the sort of short-lived Earth 1 series they did. Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. And it's Batman Earth 1 Volume 2.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah. One was a video game. I think it was a video game adaptation using DC characters.
Injustice.
Very good. Injustice, Gods Amongst Us.
That's still going. Is that still going? That?
Oh, I'm not sure. I did read a load of it. Me and Al talked about it.
Yeah, they do come back to it now and then. I tell you what.
Didn't Eamon do a podcast on it?
Me and Al did one.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And the final one, number 10.
Game. Those games were great.
Right.
They were great.
Number 10 is Batman Volume 6, Graveyard Shift.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which I think is the Tom King run, isn't it? Or I don't know if it's wrong. It was Snyder writing it at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that Batman character, I think he should be more popular than he is. I
think he should support the whole of DC Comics.
Yeah. We don't hear much from him, do we?
Anyway. Absolutely right, Vince.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this when we were talking about, and here's just a question on top of it, and it's a Spider-Man question. Okay. We all know we live in this weird when you like comic superheroes or if you like a certain franchise of comic IP or something like that, we get older. They're always in like this weird time bubble. Steve Rogers, when he was melted from that ice, he's permanently been that age for a long time, unless they do the end of life, book that they inevitably do, don't they? So the X-Men they've been around they've been around for 40 years, but if you look at the comics, it's probably been 2 weeks, judging by the way they age. We put aside such frivolity and things like that as these things go on. Spider-Man is an interesting one for me. Because obviously he did get a bit older, and like when you see him in the Marvel books and other like young heroes are talking to him, he's like the old man superhero now. The way he interacts and talks with them, and certainly he's had some very serious storylines, some dark stuff. My personal opinion is Spider-Man stories, and I think this echoed in my head ever since we went back to that. That wonderful team up with Red
Marvel
Sonja.
team up.
Yeah, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a while when I was thinking about all the Spidey issues that I enjoy. Is Spider-Man for me is a character that the adventures are the best when there's a real sense of joy and adventure and and fun. I know there are serious stakes. People could, they're in danger and they need to be saved and stuff. And it's just never really gelled for me. It's never really been my cup of tea when they try to put lots of shading and darkness into a Spider-Man story. I don't think that's a character that needs it.
When Todd got his own Spider-Man book, and he did it's a torment, and it looks very it's very proto-Spawn.
Yeah.
And I was reading, I was like, this isn't really Spider-Man. I don't really want to read this.
Yeah.
About this character, and it's all kind of dark and dingy, and there's this internal monologue about the angst and stuff. And it's like, this ain't the character for me.
And a lot of these things are these creators who have, that it's at that time that was away from the norm, wasn't it? Because it was like, we're so used to the bright, colourful cartoon. I want to make it more serious. I want to do my version of it. This is something that creators always do. But Spider-Man for me.
Does it lend itself to those kind of stories? I mean,
I
Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah.
I think the Kraven the Hunter thing definitely, and I think the death of Gwen Stacy and the death.
But it's when it's handled.
But I think
you have that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the fact is they can do those dark moments because they've got the lighter moments, and they work better. Yeah. If it's consistently just dark all the time, it doesn't work for Spider-Man. No. I think the thing is about you saying about him being more of a father figure to these characters. I think that's a necessity through his experience and age, and you can't always see him getting told off by someone who's older. But I think that works perfectly, and I think there was that jump. When it went from Ditko to Romita, they kind of aged him a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that sort of kind of stuck in a way, I think.
He went from being a high school kid with a part-time job to being a full-time photographer.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? He had a job, and he had an apartment, and he had a life, which then meant that it can open the doors, from a writing perspective, because he can go out with the nightlife now. He can go out and party. He can do grown-up things, which means he can get involved.
But they had that fucking wobble with One More Day, didn't they? And there's been a lot written about that, saying how some people didn't like it, some people thought it was a massive mistake. And
is that the one?
But they retconned the whole fucking him being married and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Which I personally think, if you make your decision, stick to it and just make sure you write it great. It was when I hear, and I never read this, I say this, listeners, as someone who has not read a lot of these stories that, I'm kind of being soapboxy critical of at the moment. When you hear about, the baby that MJ had that, what happened? Something happened. Was it got taken away or something like that? Wasn't there there was a dark storyline? Was it with Mephisto or something like that? There was some weird thing going on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
I don't know.
I remember hearing these dark stories, and I was like, why do that to Spider-Man?
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Because I think sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think you can do it with Spider-Man because we like him so much. It wouldn't perhaps work as well with Punisher because we don't perhaps like him so much.
No.
Or even Iron Man to a certain extent, who's been a bit of a bastard over time, isn't he?
Yeah. It's that likability factor, which is a boon and a curse, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain thing. I like Matt Murdock, but he's got the tortured character, all that he's been through, all of that, and that flavour works well for that pizza. Do you know what I mean? That's well. I don't.
You don't want that for every character.
I don't want that. Yeah.
It's not how he started though.
No, because he
sort of grew into that
yellow and red acrobat sort of character, wasn't he? It was that. Yeah. But it was
kind of more of a generic, just
exactly. The old one didn't work because we had a Spider-Man, so not everyone could be that. Oh, I'm just going to jump about everywhere. It's like, well, there has to be shades, doesn't there, throughout the whole thing?
But what we're talking about there is interesting because I think there's a lot of characters that we couldn't quantify in a similar way now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of characters who are exactly the same fucking character all the way across the Marvel universe, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know-it-all, bossy bullshit characters that I'm just bored of. Like
Yeah.
Spider-Man has that quality, Ben Grimm has that quality, Daredevil has that quality, and we need to get back to that. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
everyone's the kind of like rude, shit talking, wise ass,
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
fucking no
can't
one
fail,
is.
doesn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no interest.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you kind of got to have someone who's an arse. You got to have someone who's really nice and
we
kind. But
watched
you got
Peter make mistakes. You know, we watched him, and we understood why.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like making the hard choice of like, oh, I'm gonna go and stop this bad guy instead of like going on a date with Mary Jane. She's gonna
Yeah,
absolutely cut up over it, but you can't tell her why.
Yeah.
Those kind of decisions, which you're like, oh man, I'm really with him here. And
yeah. I wonder if that's the
yeah,
thought of having these characters now. We've done so much with them, we can't go back on some of it,
Yeah.
which maybe is why Absolute works so well at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, that-
Yeah.
Batman can make those mistakes.
Yeah.
He's just a young fucking kid, really.
It does say something that, like, it says something about the strength of the original stuff anyway, which we always knew.
Massively does.
Always knew, but, like, now I think, I just want to read a really cool Spider-Man story. I'm going to go back to the books of the 70s, 80s. Do you know what I mean? Stuff that I didn't read. Obviously, I didn't exist.
We did it
in the
recently,
70s.
didn't we?
Yeah, just that stuff where whenever I've picked up in a single issue, I'm like, God damn it, this is just fun comics. This is great. I love it. You know that. But now I appreciate wow, look at the fucking art on that. Look at what they managed to do with that. So, and I think because of the nature of a character like Spider-Man, this has happened with a lot of like the tentpole characters for me, because we're seeing them so much, because there's so many different versions of it, or they make these really dark series. You know, the character that currently exists for Spider-Man, and I say this, and I'm probably missing out on a lot of good comics, Spider-Man comics. So Spider-Man readers, current Spider-Man readers.
There's a lot of good Spider-Man comics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But right now, that comic, that character hasn't appealed to me for quite some time. So I need to kind of, but I love him. He's always been one of the best.
What you've got there, mate, you've almost got a richness of rediscovery, I think.
Yeah.
You know, if someone points you in the direction of a good little run of Spider-Man, you'll fucking love it, I think.
Yeah. And I don't need to do one of those, here's one of the big collections that starts from Spider-Man 1. No, I just want to pick up like a couple of fun arcs, and like, you know, even, you know, whether it's the stuff that I didn't read before, you know, the classic stuff, or rediscovering some Mark Bagley ones I was reading when I was a kid, and I was reading Amazing Spider-Man and stuff like that, and that rediscovery, and that was on the cusp when Carnage and that came in. That was the cusp of.
yeah.
I actually really
rate
the Spectacular Spider-Man run, which was kind of seen as the second main Spider-Man after Amazing.
Yeah.
And I was reading it in the British UK weeklies at the time, and it's
because Spider-Man had Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man,
Spectacular Spider-Man came much later, and we had
And
Marvel
then-
Team Up as well.
and then Spider-Man. Was that the
Spider-Man after that, but before that we had Marvel Team Up, and we had Marvel Tales, which reprinted the Spider-Man stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so no matter what I ever say about Batman, Spider-Man was doing it fucking as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, he was all over the shop.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it before. I really don't like the multiverse stuff. Like,
No, me neither.
I've got a character who's a knockoff Spider-Man, Batman, whatever, but I don't have the faith to launch him on my own. So I've got to say, oh, it's Batman from this universe, or
I know.
it's like, oh man, have the fucking courage of convictions and make a new fucking character and see if
The
try and
thing
get
is,
to stick.
For me with Spider-Man, he was that one person
Yes.
that we worried about. He could only rely on himself. He was vulnerable to defeat and his private life. We don't need a multitude of people who sit behind him who can come along and appear. And, you know, you got Ninja Spider-Man or fucking Ghost Spider-Man or some shit just turn up and
all
help
of
him
that
out.
shit only works if you're trying to
Or
sell
sit
toys
down.
and you got different versions of it. That's the
Well,
only.
they did it with that Batman Incorporated. They've done it with so many fucking
Yeah.
lines. And sort of like, oh, look,
Batman
Batman's-
in some incarnations, they've stopped it a little bit recently as a team book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Like, when you go back to the formula, like Absolute, like this is why the formula is strong, and then you decided the formula doesn't work anymore and started fucking changing it, and then you're like, this just goes to prove that you.
Yeah.
Well,
The
we'll see
reason
what's
it
going
was
to
a
happen with
good
Marvel,
idea.
right? I mean, the thing is, Marvel's going through a lot of changes at the moment, and
Big
you know,
time.
geographically, you know, staff-wise, and we'll see if that has a bounce back, and whether someone just says, "We've got to strip this shit back, guys. We've got to just do comics about these characters. Stop fucking overcomplicating it."
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Shooter did a lot of good, but Secret Wars issue 1 fucked us to a certain extent because it introduced this whole sort of crossover miniseries bullshit.
Yeah.
And we've never fucking turned back on that now.
Yeah, yeah. I absolutely love the sticker album I had of that. Then.
That was the
it seemed like
best.
a great idea at the time.
Yeah.
But looking back on it,
Yeah.
It's like you can only tell so many stories before a big event comes across and just fucks it all up.
Yeah.
And you've got to redo it.
But this sort of chat that we're having is a nice kind of segue. Do we have any last comments on being 11 years old before we move on, Chance?
No, it's been a good 11 years.
I love doing the show. I love talking to you guys. It's one of my favourites. I love trying to bring people comics that we like and enjoy to others. Because I feel like kind of it's very difficult to get people to get eyes on your comic when you're kind of a small press or indie title.
Yeah.
And we do as best we can, which is kind of half-assed job of promoting it. We do try our best. You know what I mean? Like,
we do. Yeah. And there's nothing in it for us.
No.
We have promoted swathes of people and never even got a book off them. Not that we've ever asked for it.
No.
And that's just why we do it. It's don't think, they must get loads of free books. We fucking don't.
Yeah. And we don't have a sponsor at the moment either.
No, we don't. No. Yeah.
And that's not a shout out for a sponsor, by the way.
If you're listening, Fleshlight, we are available.
Yeah. But it is one of those things where if we have a sponsor again, only comics-based sponsors. That's the only. Sometimes when I like watch content and stuff or a podcast, it's like, I really like this, and then there's a sponsor that's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah. It's like you get like people on their podcast, they're railing against fucking consumerism and capitalism and the government, and then they'll go, and over to our sponsor.
Yeah, Blue Chew.
British Petroleum.
Yeah. So, it's been, get ready for more years and more nonsense and more fun chat. But that segue, talking about Spider-Man, I did inadvertently, that wasn't planned, by the way, but inadvertently...
Talking about characters.
Which leads us into this week's sort of question and topic that, Tony, you first posed it to us, and we got some listener sort of feedback. And if you checked out this episode because of the clickbaity title I gave it...
Gotcha.
Welcome.
Gotcha, but strap in because, but and also get involved with the chat, because this is we're going to be talking about this. We've got listener insight, but the question
it does seem to fall into two camps. This, but go on.
Okay,
yeah. Because we're talking about comic book characters this week and the creation of them. So when you create a character for a comic, what's the process? What are the stages and what comes first? So I thought that. First off, Tony, I love questions like that. It's such a interesting thing that I think there is no strict blueprint for it. I don't think because everyone's got their own way of doing it.
Absolutely.
And if it works for you, here's a spoiler: it's not wrong. It's working for you, so that's all that fucking matters, really.
Spot on.
Yeah, but who wants to jump in first?
Dan, you create more characters than the rest of us put together.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I mean, you've created and killed off more people than a lot of...
Well, I'll start briefly with Vanguard. I kind of had the idea for Vanguard that I wanted to tell a story of like a country that kind of got rid of its heroes and the bad guys are now in charge. And then like people came along and tried to kind of win it back. And I thought it'd be a lot more interesting to start at the point where everything's going well and then tear the good guys apart. So I wanted to make a really generic group of superheroes
you can throw away,
you kind of throw away, but they've kind of got like you see them as one level, but they've been put together to be like a kind of this is what people expect to see, and then so when you see them getting torn apart, they're kind of allegories for characters you kind of already know.
Okay, I get you.
So they kind of, I guess I had those characters design in my head. So
my story comes first with you there.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah,
right.
I echo what I think Kieran said and a couple other people, that kind of you have the situation and the story, and then the character evolves to be the driving force or part of that story.
It's interesting you say that. To sort of counterpoint that, I'll go back because I've done a couple of different ways of doing it. Like Dan, I like for instance when I did Murder Road when I was coming up with that, that was the story, and then who are the people that are populating?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But when I created the Red Mask, all those Red Mask from Mars all the years ago, he was a sketch on a post-it note. Do you know what I mean? And then then he was a doodle, and then he was a sketch, and then it was like, who is this guy? And then there was a couple of, you know, you draw that person with a couple of people with them, and then it's like, okay, and it was the shortcut BPRD kind of, like, you know, you got your main character and the supporting ones around it. But then it was, I had this person. Who are they, and how did that happen? So he was the pillar to it, because everything revolved around him. But then by figuring out who he was, then the story sort of adds it. Because I almost wanted that classic, you know, I always go back to Hellboy, you know, the character, the story that you can just do, you know. You take this little team, and by these little stories, everything else develops. It was the other characters that were a surprise to me, but he was the action figure that I was going to create the cartoon from, if you know what I mean. He was that sort of like, okay, well, what do we do that? That's a fascinating way of doing it.
I've seen a phenomenon where people come up with characters like that, and they never flash them out, and they just kind of live in this perfect void of existing, but never being more than. I
think. That's
an idea that can go on. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely bang on, Dan. This is something I was thinking of earlier today. Was I've just created this. You know, it's almost like you know, I've photocopied Spider-Man. Do you know what I mean? Just say I've done that, and he's just going to be this character. So I'm going to write him like that character all the way through. No, I mean, that's not the way I sort of think or write anyway. But no, because once you start writing the character, you lose a bit of control of that character. Because it's going to sound so cheesy, but the character will, if it's a good character that you really care about, there is somewhat of the character will want to be told. I've suddenly realised.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It doesn't feel right that this character's saying this or doing this. You know, because how many times have we seen characters, like when you first see a sketch of them, they're super serious, and then when we look at the comic they are now, it's like, oh, this is a really funny character. You know, how did that go from A to B?
Did you get that with Atomic Kirk, Tony? How did that come about? Creation.
Well, that's a funny one. That one, because I get to characters from all different places, really. I guess.
Yeah.
With Atomic Kirk, he's the most simplest of them all, because he's basically me, just pissed off with the world, and sort of sitting there and watching it all fucking melt. And he's just like the last sane voice on the planet, you know. He's watching people bum robots and fucking have dildos with knives in, and
so just like you then.
So I'm watching. It's like an exaggerated version of.
It's like me watching you two, you know, just like but
fucking a unicorn to death.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't. The uniform gets his revenge, doesn't it? Because he bites his knob off.
Yeah.
But
careful, kids.
Yeah. But and I mean, and the unicorn came from just like fucking. I think in our little space there was people arguing about who had the best idea for a unicorn or something. I thought I've got a good idea for a fucking unicorn.
Watch this.
You know what I mean?
With that with a character like that, Tony, where you know there's this irreverence, a certain amount of there's a lot of you going into it. But do you find by creating these scenarios and these stories, the reaction of the character solidifies rather than?
No, he's very much led by the story. Yeah, we go into it with him as a person, and the story develops around him and because of him in a lot of the cases. I think but the thing is, I come to characters in so many different ways. For example, me and Falpy are quite infamously at this point do stories about things that happen to us. And we think they're funny, and then we turn them into comics. I wrote in one where a bloke shit on a book after he bought it, and then I did one about that time I got offered heroin in a cab in fucking Baltimore, and it turns into an orgy and stuff like that. The end didn't happen, unfortunately. And something like Tony Osmond, which is clearly the most self-imprint, if you look at just the title, is from a variety of different places. It comes from from a couple of Ollie Reed interviews. It comes from the fucking fact that Tom Cruise says that everything he does everything that happens to him in movies, he does in real life. And I sort of extended that to the Ollie Reed interview where he was saying how much of a shagger and a drinker he was. And, then I sort of, my love of sort of old English, and, British stuff. So we got fucking talk show hosts and Bananarama and Terry
Yeah,
Wogan.
it's a melting
this
pot,
sort of thing.
pot of influences, which then creates something original, doesn't it? It creates something unique.
So it comes from all different places. I think Atomic Hercules, though, is the one that I just wanted to do a sort of post. I was really into the Italian rip-off post-apocalyptic thing at the time, and I decided. It came to me one day that I thought that the reason it happened is because of all the current fucking wankers who'd rather do an anime voiceover course than learn about engineering or nuclear physics, and that's what we ended up with a world a bit like Idiocracy. We ended up with a world where nobody knew how anything worked, how a fucking iron worked or something, or how to put oil in their car. I know people at work, grown men who can't change a fucking tire, and then the world ended because of that. And there's just me as Atomic Hercules, a lone person sitting there watching it all fucking die and thinking, well, it's their fault, but doing his best occasionally to fucking help people out.
It's like the violent voice of reasoning in an unreasonable dystopian world, isn't it? Really, it's that sort of.
It's got to be that lone voice. I love that lone voice thing.
Yeah,
Kung Fu, for example, came from the fact that I love carry-on films, I love kung fu films, and I just met Carolyn Monroe. So it was like.
So a lot of your stuff is kind of based on like example stuff you've encountered in the real world, and then you kind of bring it together in a kind of in a narrative, a story, a fiction.
Well, I mean, absolutely, and the Hall Chronicles and Hidden Lives is exactly that. It's what people have told me. They're often disguised in different people, but all of the stories and the prose stuff in relation to that are all true, based on true stories in some way or other, or a thing that somebody has said to me, as part of an interaction I've had with them in my job and my daily life or something. So there's that, I think, and I think you've got to, there's that Hemingway thing. You've got to grab stuff from real life. I like that, but you got to, there's. I mean, I suspect that all of your characters are saying things that are, in some way, they're not just like things you've read on Twitter. It's not like that. So you're actually having real dialogue between people.
There's an interesting point you bring up there about like sort of real dialogue. You need to be careful with it. And certainly, we talk about being irreverent and putting ourselves into it. You kind of need to. I think there's a time. There's also a time and a place for some things. And the moment I bring up, I saw something, Rob Liefeld, a Bad Rock comic that he's written. The art looks fucking great on it.
I've got that downstairs ready to read, actually. Funny.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And there's Bad Rock's having a conversation with his mum while having cereal.
Right.
But he's talking about the Marvel movies. And he's talking about sort of relevant, sort of, contemporary sort of modern day stuff. And I read it. And it's not him. I don't think it's him talking. Do you know what I mean? Because I just think that's Rob Liefeld's little.
That's Rob Liefeld's,
little rant about
absolutely.
something.
That's what he's. That's currently what he's doing.
Yeah, that's currently what he's doing.
That's endemic through comics at the moment. People are just talking. Their writing is exactly how they think. A lot of people don't talk to anyone anymore. And they don't fucking go in pubs and talk to rough people. That's one of the reasons I love Amos. He explored the fucking rougher side of the world in order to write about it. And it's people don't do it anymore. They just think that's how people talk when they. And put fucking Snapchats on or something.
We did get a lot of Twitter talk for quite a while.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's stopped, man. Try reading the X-Men at the moment; it ain't stopped.
It goes beyond as well. Like
Blue Sky
characters, when created well or created with thought, they are can also be useful ways of exploring things. Do you know what I mean? You write the Punisher. You're not going to go out and fucking murder people with a machine gun and like things like that. But I'm not.
You might do.
Hopefully you don't.
I would read that comic. In all honesty, I would read that comic.
But through that character, you can do some, as Garth did. That he explored some dark territory, and there was interesting questions and like.
I'd put money on him either firing a gun or going to look at some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And creating a character as well can be a great way of learning. Because it's like, okay, I'm going to create a comic about a RAF fighter pilot. I don't know how to fly a plane, and this person needs to know. They've got to know all the stuff.
You got to read up and do your research.
You got
to.
Even if it's
that
like
will inform the choices you're making within the story as well.
Yeah,
but that's a lack of what's going on. It's something we've talked about a lot recently. Is when you write Miles Morales or when you write Iron Man, so many people now are just putting a second character in, so they can write about the second character because they haven't put the fucking time in to learn about the characters.
Yeah.
And
you get a comic that's like the new Green Arrow comic. Yeah. It's all about Black Canary.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not about Green Arrow anymore.
Yeah, which when I read the first issue, I thought that's an interesting concept. But then when I heard that it would seem to be more about that character,
fine for one issue, and then it just keeps going.
Exactly. Because I thought, let's see the other side of the coin. Do you know what I mean? I thought, let's see this, and that's the thing is, characters can be used to explore things, but that secondary character thing really chaps my fucking ass.
We had that talk about Punisher though. We had that with Steve Dillon and Garth Ennis in Punisher, where you had the detective who was a bit of an idiot detective who was employed to fucking hunt the Punisher. But it wasn't just about soap, was it?
Yeah.
He'd appear, but it just wasn't.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, and but your main characters should have voice to them, should have life to them, and the thing going back to, I think, using that sort of the photocopy of Spider-Man or the photocopy of Batman that we're always talking about, and just sort of like, oh god, it's just the same thing here. There's nothing original by it. One of the things that makes that so original is because that character, just say you've written a little background for that character, and you said they don't like this, they don't like that, and you followed that template continually, that tone of voice becomes immediately boring. Boring, because you're just saying the same thing over and over. Oh, I've got no sense of humor. I'm doing this, that, and the other. There's got to be, with the story around it as well, there's got to be peaks and troughs. There's got to be levels. Even if your character is one note, they are not funny, then put people around them, or put other people to support.
Well, you've got to be by contrast, right? Because if your character's not funny and then everyone else is not funny, that's
yeah, exactly. It becomes you can. An interesting character can become boring quite quickly.
Superheroes full of the sort of cliche that people just apply. Horror can be like that as well sometimes. And I think Dungeons and Dragons comics are becoming a bit like that.
Oh god, yeah.
We've seen like they think they've got to have these sort of 8 different characters in it, including the villain.
Yeah.
And that's they've got a story, and it's just not like that.
And there's a lot of my issue with a lot of those sort of comics, and especially even if they're not. The brand isn't on the title. They're clearly people who have played the game and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the fact that they more often than not they walk and talk like they could be going out to get a slice of pizza rather than being in the real world that they're sort of living in. Which if you've set your comic out to telegraph that, can work really well. I've read some stuff that reads really well like that, and I've also read some stuff that's like, really.
It falls into that snark thing that is kind of been communicated across from the MCU, isn't it?
Yeah.
To a lot of things. Everyone's got to be fucking... In fact, it happens in the Marvel Universe. In the
Snarky
movie,
and
everyone's got to have a little quip to say. Where previously it was really just Spider-Man and a couple of other characters.
It's part of the world building as well. Do you know what I mean? As soon as you set your character...
Thor does it now, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Should I go to a couple of backers?
Thank you to everyone.
Did you say backers?
Slackers.
All right, okay.
From Kieran Squires, I think it depends on the point where you're at the overall creation. I think the main character for me is immediate in regards to the design, and that comes with the overall concept. I think other main characters exist at that point as whims. I'll probably then plot out the concept, and other characters would emerge, not necessarily in detail, but may emerge enough for me to do a character sketch. I then start writing where the character tropes would be brought out. I will then develop the characters, the story develops, adding notes, designs, etc. Even when new ones. Even creating new ones as needed as the script develops, and I realize what I needed to get to the end. I like to think I keep it mostly organic process, and they develop their traits initially to fit the story, and then as they're established, the story then starts to cater to them. So that's straight from the beginning. Like, if we're going to do an A and B camp, it's that camp of having the story first, and then a character kind of like made for that world. Yeah.
I think a lot of supporting characters are mostly that as well. You have a supporting character who might just be in an issue or be in 5 or 6 issues. He has to fit, or she has to fit, or they have to fit into whatever it is that's going on in the comic, isn't it, really?
You've got to be, for me, it goes back to the absolute brutality of, like, if there's a character in that comic and they're not doing anything or don't justify their space, get rid of them. They don't need to be in there. Like, it used to be so fucking tight at times of, like, if there's no point in this character and they've got no arc and they don't do anything, why have you got them?
I think that's also something that people don't realise when they're writing a comic, of the unnecessary necessity of characters they put in. So there's the whole, if there's a gun in the story that they're going to use
Chekhov's gun.
So, so there's almost like Chekhov's extra character sometimes. If you put a character in and you think, oh, who's this character? He's got to have something going on. What's he? He's got to have some meaning. Because we're suspicious like that now, aren't we? No cunning use of, extra storylines and extra plot twists and stuff. And you put someone in there who just is there to say something in a diner and walk away. People don't realise the emphasis that will have on the reader. And I think I've spotted this quite a few times in small press stuff where they put characters in and you're like, why is this character in there? And you're wondering it, and then they never reappear again. It's just all a bit strange. I'm not really sure about it. Yeah,
if it's going to be like some waitress in a thing, that's fine. Like those kind of characters. But if they kind of have a little bit of a part
and speaks, and they chat her up and stuff
gives
like that,
them a look,
and
you think, well,
and you think she's coming back later. She's a fucking, she's wearing a fucking an alien skin or it's all this sort of thing, and it never. Sometimes it just never happens.
There's also there's characters that are just created through osmosis and like through the creation of the comic. Because sometimes I've drawn pages. And just say there's lots of teams, and there's people in the background, and I've just drawn someone like there's part of the team, like part of a squad or something in the background, and I thought I'll just give them a cool look, just so they were just a little more interesting to draw, really. And the more I've looked at them, I thought, who is that person?
Well, Silver Surfer, that's how he started, didn't he?
Yeah.
Stan went, who is this on the board flying around, and Jack went, oh, and then it's become one of the preeminent characters of Marvel. So
I think that's great, and you can create such rich and wonderful people. Just you don't have to be so hard line with a lot of characters, do you?
Stan had the sense to go, that looks interesting. It's almost like you got the sense to go, he's interesting. Let's let's play him out. And I think that stuff, there's happy accidents with character creation, same as there are with art. And we'll talk about the happy accident later when we talk about that.
Go on, Dan.
I've got one from Chris Garskin, which is on the other camp, which is I've generally got a library of characters either sketched out or just living in my head as ideas in my head. And it can be years before a story comes along that I can slot these characters into. But I also have stories that have no characters for, and it might take a couple of drafts of writing the story before the right characters appear.
That's a good idea.
To flesh themselves out. Sometimes characters are just wrong fit for the story and have to be abandoned at an early writing stages, or even put on hold to be used in later part of the story, or even completely different stories.
Yeah, I've come across that whole thing. This is the wrong character for the story, either through power set or intelligence or personality or sexiness, or they're just wrong for the moment. Where they're overshadowing, confusing the plot or overshadowing the main character. Definitely, I've come across that many times.
Yeah, it's tricky as well, isn't it? When you it just say you've got your main character and you have to introduce another character into it, and you want it to be powerful, but it still has to be the main character's story, hasn't it? They've still got to be felt throughout. I think it's a tricky thing to do. I remember when I was doing Red Mask 3 and I introduced Henderson Wolf, which was a character that I could not wait for his introduction. Do you know what I mean? It was like, because I knew he wasn't there issue 1 and 2, but in my head he had been there for fucking years. He was the main one of the main parts of the team. So it's like, okay, so I want this bloke to be cool. I want him to be introduced cool, and I tried to do that, but at the same time, he turned up, and he was still turning up in someone else's book.
Yeah.
So it still had to come back to.
Okay.
It still had to come back to. I mean, whether how successfully I did that, but come back to. Okay, it's in service. He's there in service of the main character.
Yeah.
That's what
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it with Soho Red, which was a weird one because I wanted to reuse her from Cockney Kung Fu.
Yeah.
And so she appears at the end of Tony Osmond pregnant.
Brilliant.
Which is a great.
Yeah, loved it.
Lovely little twist.
It's absolutely fucking awesome.
Yeah. But the thing is with that is you couldn't put her in a book where she was overpowering, more personality, stronger than the main character Tony Osmond. I mean, he's a fucking monster. And also the way I use her is almost like a foil. He'll say something and she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah,
it's just like it's a foil to what. But
you've got to have those character dynamics worked out of kind of.
There is a real fun to like having a character who seems invincible or seems like the fucking the big daddy or the big mama or the fucking leader, and then there's someone from their past who's like, I know this is all fucking horseshit. I don't have to listen to when you have a dissenting voice. It's such an interesting character. It's so fun to play with, isn't it? That sort of thing. That like, I knew you before you were famous, so don't fucking talk your bullshit to me.
Yeah.
It's always. I love that.
Yeah, I love the character who walks out. All right, tits. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in love at the moment. I'm sort of writing something at the moment, which I'm in love with. Is the and to a certain extent, you've previously seen this character. He's the stranger in the moment. So, he's a detective who's in a world which is like fucking hell. What is all this? I love that character. I think that is a great way that I enjoy writing people. Is you drop him in somewhere, and he can be
But that's
surprised, he can be offhand, and he can be violent about it. And it's just having that.
What he is as well, Tony, if I may interject, is like he is the audience. So a character that, in some ways, what I mean is we're reading and they're experiencing everything. If they don't know what's going on, then when it all happens, we're discovering this fucking hell along with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm careful with that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I think you're right in a way, but I am careful never to make someone so obviously the audience.
Yeah.
I want him to be a surprise at moments.
Yeah.
I want him to be cynical and violent and
so he's
make decisions that are not necessarily the best.
He's more than the audience because he's the sane voice, I suppose. And the audience
he's more
are
like
not
a lens.
sane.
He's more like a lens rather than
In a
like
way,
a cipher
in a way,
sort of thing.
yeah.
That sort of.
Yeah. And I just fucking love writing myself, as you all know. So it's just that's what I think I do.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's the tone of voice, isn't it? Like, you know, there is a tone of voice to your writing, but tone of voice to character creation as well. You know, we've known a lot of people. Who
I guess
a lot of characters.
Who else? I mean, I'm just trying to think through some professional writers who have that tone of voice for a character. We'll talk about one in a minute, actually, won't we?
We could go on to him right now. I mean, that fucking Frank Miller and Marv.
Yeah.
He says he took over the book.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he really did. And he was, but he was a gumshoe in a. He was. Is it Mike Hammer? That was his inspiration for him. He talks about it. We'll talk about the book in a bit because there's loads of stuff I want to talk to you about in that. But yeah,
I've got some
I
more
just love
comments.
that idea of just like that. He's just completely, and this is kind of, I guess, how I feel about walking into fucking rooms full of fucking 30-somethings. You know, I've never seen a Carry On film and don't know who Sid James is, and think that the picture I've got in my little fucking WhatsApp group is my dad. You know, and like I walk in because I'm almost 60 now, and I walk in and I'm like, what is the fuck is this? You know, I'm constantly surprised by what the fuck is this shit now. You know, and I just love that character. But yeah,
there's an Office special that Steve Merchant and Ricky Gervais did for Microsoft.
Oh right.
And Ricky, they do that. David Brent character does a routine. He goes, "Where's all the old blokes? They'll be cracking up." So it's like Logan's Run round here, and one of the young lad goes, "What's that?" And he's like,
"Absolutely, absolutely, yeah."
Google it, kids. Yeah, but there's also there's interesting things you can do when creating characters, and you have to be careful with this as well. It's got to be careful with your choices when creating a character, especially if it's like a main character. To play against type or to have things about them that, you know, because when we design a character, that's what will be judged. So people will think they know the character, and then when there's other layers to them and things that go on. I mean, like for instance, you take a character like Midnighter. Like Warren Ellis is great at like creating characters, but like, you know, the when you look at it, and because of like decades of it, you don't think his sexuality is going to be one thing a lot of time. Do you know what I mean? And it becomes it's not the crux of the conversation around that character. He's done so many interesting things with that character, but you know, if you just saw that picture of that character on just a sketch of that character, you would maybe think a lot of things that maybe that character isn't necessarily. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's certain judgments that people will make, and I think that's an interesting game to play, but you need to be careful with it. And not everyone. If you're not skilled enough to do it, then don't do it. Do you know what I mean? If you don't think you can
there's
do it.
Some characters are written with a lot more subtlety than maybe they are now. When they'd be maybe like they're gay and like they're not wearing a rainbow fucking suit or
and
something.
they tell you in the first 2 seconds of the conversation. Yeah.
Like you know, I remember there's interesting things you can do with the story as well. I remember my partner, we're a big fan of Mad Men, the show. I love that show, and she said when she watched the first episode and you see the Don Draper character through all of it, and then right at the end you see his family, and she was like, "What the fuck?" because of the way he was in that entire episode, and you think he's a James Bond, fucks everything, does all this. And then at the end, he goes home to his wife and his kids in the perfect little suburban. And that immediately, from a story standpoint, this is the story we're telling. Do you know what I mean? You can do interesting things with that. Yeah, and characters. I have a thing at the moment. I've been chipping away at some character ideas at the moment. And a tone of voice is something. I want to be careful about doing it, and I don't push. I'm not going to push it too forward if it doesn't work. But there's also creating a character based on a tone of voice and a time period and a sort of genre. Because I've been noodling away at some stuff that's very much in that. The weekly boys comics or the 70s pulp novels, these sort of things, where they had names like The Executioner, on the pulp books and stuff, all those wonderful covers. And I've been noodling away at trying to create a character based on that sort of template. But whenever I've tried to do it, it's almost like I've got nothing kind of backing it up. Do you know what I mean?
In regards to what? You kind of got a character, you're not sure what to do with them.
Like, for instance, Remo Williams. I know. Obviously, all the bazillion novels of that. Just say put that in a comic book, but like in the classic weekly boys 6-page strip that adds up. Do you know what I mean? If it was in a battle or action or Eagle or something like that, I was thinking, I create a character like that where you can do this fun sort of shtick. Do that sort of that sort of tribute, sort of homage. But I had the idea before the character, so I think I've immediately fallen at the first hurdle because I liked the idea of the concept, but I'm not well read enough. I haven't, I need to go and read. I've got to do the work before I can then move on. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I'm going to be trying to use a tone of voice when it's not my language. So I'll be doing a parody. It'll come across like a parody or someone who's trying to imitate. And you need to be careful with that as well, because if you're trying to homage something respectfully, it's got to come across respectfully. It's got to be like, brilliant.
Got to know your onions.
So I don't want to do that sort of thing if it's not going to hit the right note. Do you know what I mean?
Do you always concerned as well, like if the character's going to be actually original, have something interesting to say? Like,
I'm not worried about that anymore.
No.
It's one of those.
Okay.
It's one of those. Okay. Because I think now I'm like, I don't think I'm going to create a Batman photocopy. Do you know what I mean? But it's one of those. I think the original thing will be my tone of voice. Will be.
Well, there's two things, isn't it? It's if it's an original character, and we talked about this last week about that. I still think there are some original ideas under the sun. There's a few. There's an original character, or it's in the execution and it's an unoriginal character. So it can be like you can't tell me that fucking Kirkman has made a few characters that are definitely echoes of other characters.
Totally.
Invincible is Spider-Man in a way, isn't it?
Firepower is massively.
It's Iron Fist, isn't it?
Yeah.
100% Iron Fist. But it's in the execution. He does it well. He does it with good eyes, and he does it with clever little.
Because he tried working with Marvel, and it didn't quite click, did it, when he was working with Marvel? So it's like.
Well, even his Marvel. Did he do the Marvel Zombies? Did he start that?
He started Marvel.
That was not a bad little twist on a. It was in the execution.
Yeah.
Worked all right.
Walking Dead is only like the Romero films pushed to the extreme.
Yeah, it's just like
which
what if it was an ongoing drama?
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic, but
but it was in the execution, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I'll take a kind of a hero or character I've seen a million times before if it's done well.
But if you can have an original idea and make it in execution well, then that's the whole thing, isn't it? I'm trying to think what, but
should I give another one from the Slack?
Yeah, go on, yeah.
Got Troy. Says, for me, the characters usually come first, before the story, before the themes or subtext. They tend to appear in my head, almost fully formed, and I start asking the question, who is this? What do they do? Where are they? What are their motivations? I'll typically just start writing, fleshing them out, their look, their attitude, and then the world around them. Sometimes I give them backstories, but not always. That might come later or not at all.
Yeah.
So are they fully
that's
formed?
a good approach.
Are they fully formed then?
I guess.
Or we visualise them, how they are.
How do we fully form something? I mean, if you want to go all the way to fully formed, then you got to walk and talk like them for like in everyday your life. But I think to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with comics as well as a medium, it's such a visual medium that you picture it in your head, don't you? You picture like, I can see this person, and like Troy says, what does that person talk like? You know, what's their favourite lunch? Do you know what I mean?
God bless them. God bless them. They're just comics. You know,
Yeah.
we don't need to know if they climbed them out.
Also, I'm not someone who's going to have a character and then there's a six pages of A4 on their backstory and their history and their family tree and all of that, because it could just be a paragraph to let me know of what.
And I think I'm right in saying that Troy's a writer and not an artist like me.
Yeah.
A lot of the personality and a lot of the character and a lot of the story comes from how these people look as well. Yeah. You do imprint a lot of stuff. If he's a sort of skinny bloke with a massive moustache, and long scraggly hair, he's probably going to be a bit of a fucking down and out loser. But sort of, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, but as a writer as well, you've got to. I think there's always, of course, the kill your darlings, but also loosen the belt a little bit on what you see in your head, because you're going to have a clear.
Oh, I have to all the time.
Yeah, you can have a clear picture in your head, and you give it to an artist, and they could do it 95% how you wanted, and they just add something on the belt that you didn't even think about, but by them doing that, you've got another thing to play with.
That's the joy of collaboration.
It absolutely reshapes characters about how they're drawn, and
I love that when that happens. It's like
scars and all sorts of things like that. Unwashed. Yeah.
I mean, characters are endlessly fucking interesting.
I've got obviously the Viper issue 3 is away with the.
Just excuse myself. I was just making myself laugh there by thinking massive tits, but I never said it. Fortunately, so I'm just going to the image.
Now you have
massive tits. I think that's a good starting point for a lot of characters.
Well, I mean,
I don't think it counts as personality.
No, but there was a good section of '90s comics that were just that. So,
exactly. I was thinking about today.
And I think every growing lad who bought those comics, if you were buying them for an in-depth character exploration, you didn't get it, did you?
Some of us bought them just for the tits, didn't they? Yeah. And I do apologise, Dan, because I interrupted you to talk about.
No worries.
So please go
it's a team of girls with massive tits. What do they do? Jump into an installation on page 1 to stop something? Yeah, seems fair enough.
Out of a plane.
And then they start fighting. Yeah. Make up as you go along, and I'd stick some words along with it.
That'd make a few quid on Kickstarter, though, I think.
Yeah,
it would. Yeah.
Since we all talked a bit about the characters we created for our ACP anthology, like with Viper, add the 3 characters. One which was going to be like the main character, who's kind of like a misogynist, loose cannon womanizer. So it's going to have the woman in the chair was going to be the opposite, which was going to be the bookish, uptight prig. And then a third character, which was kind of like the bit of the curveball, which is like the more realistic person who's got thoughts and feelings and actually quite normal. So whenever you're contrasted with either of them, she's kind of, there's a contrast there. And when you have the misogynist and the uptight bookworm, that's fucking comedy gold. So
exactly.
As a trio,
it depends on what the other characters are. Yes, great point.
But he's also a good example of someone who's a very black and white paragraph and just fucking like, we're a band that can only play one song, so fucking play that song. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
it's also. I always said Ryan with a kind of. I started a bit on Riggs from Lethal Weapon. As in, like, he's a hardcore character, but inside there's fucking a tenderness, and he's been hurt, and he covers that up by fucking being a big arsehole all the time.
I revisited the first and second of those recently, and they stand up, man.
Yeah, totally.
There's so much more to them than you think. Yeah.
Third one goes off the fucking rails, but like 1 and 2.
Third one was just big Hollywood nonsense.
Third and fourth, but the first 2 I think are really good.
Diplomatic immunity.
Anyway. Patsy Kensit's left nipple.
Just been revoked. A lot of nudity. Excellent. So and obviously kind of nicked from the whole kind of, he was part of the special forces unit, and they've all gone fucking bad, and that's in Viper. and then he just cherry pick bits and bobs. So
Yeah.
the only real hard thing I had to do is watch fucking loads of 80s TV
Yeah.
shows, which is not a problem.
But
yeah, you love that.
what's your, what's the puzzle that you have to overcome with a character like that then? Because you say like he's this thing, and underneath there's all this tenderness, but we're going from like the cake mold of 80s and early 90s videos where those the characters had none of that, isn't it? So
well, no, there's that it pops up a couple of times where there's kind of like a kind of a guy who's kind of like rock hard, and then you might get a love interest, and they express a bit of humanity, and then that's taken from them, and then they're back to fucking being a ultra fucking hard ass. That happens a lot, right?
That's usually because that's usually because they want a love interest so they can have a sex scene, and then we get back to the violence.
They get offed, and then yeah. So you do get a bit of that, but like definitely with Riggs, that kind of they kind of lose it in the later ones, but that was kind of a core part of his character. And if another character which basically is Stringfellow Hawk from Airwolf, which is that character always kind of got a bit of a, oh fuck, I've got to kill someone, and then the next minute done loads of people getting blown apart with missiles and chain guns. Do you know what I mean? But like, I'll sit on the lake serenading a hawk with a fucking
that pilot, man. That pilot, when I rewatched that fucking a couple of decades ago, and I thought he's straight up murdering people with a fucking Gatling gun.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, because in the show it was just explosions and people flying through the air. But the first episode, fucking
loads. I think that one of those things they did the first episode, and it's like actually got to turn this down for fucking syndication.
Right.
It's a bit too fucking like the bad guy Moffat, like taking women out into the sun till they burn and then raping them. Maybe he's a bit too much for a Saturday afternoon TV show. Yeah. So maybe we'll tone that down, eh?
We won't be able to sell any toys off that.
At least do it the other way round. Do you know what I mean?
Come on, people.
Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Yeah. So, characters.
So, we've all got the different ways of approaching them.
And different ways depending on the environment and what we're doing. Yeah.
But I would say everyone their characters are quite a personal thing to them, aren't they, really? The people that they create. If you're creating a comic without characters that you genuinely care about them, why the fuck are you? And when I say genuinely care about it, that doesn't mean that like you don't have to do horrible things to them, but you've got to care about the things that you're creating. Otherwise, what's the point?
It's very hard to stay. I'm trying to think of an example where I've read the character and it's like I fucking can't stand this character, and then I've stuck with it. I'm struggling to think of one.
Yeah,
I must have read a book where it's like that.
Yeah,
even like I was thinking back to. What's the one where the skinhead with the thermite and he's got the skin. Even that character, like he's kind of some of the stuff he's done's horrible, but like
you're waiting for him to do something good, aren't you? Yeah,
you're with him.
I'm more tend to turn off characters when they just become fucking annoying know-it-alls these days.
Yeah,
that tends to be more why I fucking walk away from them.
Yeah.
Always the one comic I always go back to is that fucking Iron Man comic, and it was like the 2016-17 era, and Tony Stark is in a hospital bed and he's being lectured to by Hellcat about how he doesn't do enough, and it's like he's fucking saved the world and the universe more times than you've had fucking hot dinners.
There's a tone of voice
and saved her.
And once again, go back to tone of voice. It's the way people say these things, because you read. Ring that bell again for a Punisher notification. Like a lot of the Punisher voiceover, the narration, he thinks a certain way. He thinks the world is a certain way, so he speaks in absolutes a lot of the time. This is the way things are. This is this is blah blah. He says that because that's what he thinks. That isn't necessarily saying that's the way it is, and characters can be like, well, hang on, mate, that isn't how things work. If he bumps into Daredevil immediately is like, no, that's not how things work, and you have interesting things like that
to play the two off.
Yeah, you need that. And so many comics now, like
for both characters, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you put a character like they're in a situation where what Punisher says writes and works out, and it's like in your face Daredevil, and it's like. Fuck.
They're trying to balance that in the new Daredevil Spider-Man that came out. I think it's Dan Abnett wrote, and it doesn't work. It's trying to make it a series, and the balance between the two of them and accepting what the other person is doing would be a red line for either character for me. I'm not sure it quite works in it. Yeah.
Don't they have relatively similar principles? I don't know. I can only attest to what they were like years
Apart
ago,
from
not
the
now.
murdering bit, apart from the sort of
Is Daredevil
killing
murdering?
people. No, this is Punisher Spider-Man.
Oh,
sorry.
Punisher Spider-Man. It's a bit of a
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No.
And it's a series, and I'm like, it might work as a one-off. Not
Yeah.
sure. It's like Wolverine and Spider-Man. It don't work as a series.
No.
They're too different.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't get on.
Yeah. So, to anyone who did listen to get some tips, I think the tip would be just
Do we like?
do what you like. Write it in your tone of voice. Care about your characters. Don't make them too wordy. Don't make them too fucking too many speech bubbles. But that's just me. That's me.
Oh no, I would say don't write it in your tone of voice. Your own tone of voice. Write it in the character's tone of voice.
Yes.
That's what I think is the problem these days. Is people write it in their own tone.
What I mean is
you mean the opposite. Yeah.
Write the story in your tone of voice, but you don't. The characters don't speak like you because they're not you.
Otherwise, everyone will. Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, everyone would speak like that. Yeah.
And have
cool.
layers and depth, and just make them good because we'll want to read them then, and then we'll talk about them. And we've read so many fucking indie and small press characters where we're like,
we go on and on about
this
characters.
person's awesome. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And
absolutely.
They don't. And I'm not talking about. I know we come back to superheroes a lot, but most of the time, the most interesting ones usually aren't superheroes. They're someone else. There's layers to them.
In the small press and indie world, most definitely.
Totally,
most definitely.
Totally. But we hope you enjoyed that.
Cool.
Right, from all that to the rest of the show. Do we have any shout-outs, gents?
I've just got a couple. So our buddy and Slack member Chris Askham has a new Kickstarter up and running. His sexy series of femme fatales, Switchblade Stories, reaches issue 10. And you on the Kickstarter, it's one of those cracking ones where you can get issues 1 to 10 on the same campaign if you need it. But 10 issues in a series in the small press. That's fucking good, isn't it?
That's great,
Rare,
man.
Rare.
Yeah.
Don't forget that you can now walk into a comic shop and grab a copy of American Nature 4. I think it might be a week delayed over here. I know Forbidden Planet have delayed it slightly. So in America, you can certainly go and buy it this week. And in England or Great Britain, you can probably get it from Wednesday. Great interviews in there, some reviews, and even me and the Cumber are in there. Me and Keith are in there.
Oh, legend.
Thanks to the good buddy, I'm not going to name him, embarrass him, but thanks to the good buddy who sent me the excellent book, The Fantastic Art of Ron Turner, from Telos Publishing by John Lawrence. Absolutely incredible book. Been poring over that all day today. Good stuff. They're my ones.
Nice. Damn.
I've got a couple. First off, we're going to talk about Comics Assemble, which is just around the corner. August 15th, 2026, Gloucester Leisure Centre, a democratic celebration of comics by creators. And that's comicsassemble.net, done by our friend Shane Chebsby. Do go check that one out. We've got Shah, Book 2, Soul Wound by Pat Mills and Oliver LeDroit, which is yet to release, but you can do the old notify me on launch.
So I think they've given a date, haven't they? It's going to launch. Is it on? And there's 100 prints.
Yeah, it might be
for the first
this
100
week.
backers. I think it might be. Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
We've got Men of the Cloth, folk horror graphic novel. Folk horror graphic novel from the award-winning creators of Paul Kane and James Gray. They're from our friends at Hellbound Media.
Those sick fucks.
Yeah. Sticking it to the man.
Still
nice
going
work.
strong.
Good.
Yeah. The Gods of Monsters and Headgrave, 120-page graphic conspiracy graphic novel, telling the complete story of aliens, madness, conspiracy, Nazis, and family in pre-World War II by Jordan Thomas and Chris Matthews. Do go check that one out. You've got another couple of weeks to back that. And I think that's it. No, can I just do a shout out? It was my birthday last week.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got some lovely gifts and lovely well-wishing, and thanks for both. It's fantastic.
Good stuff, man.
I've got loads more books in, and it annoyed my wife greatly, as you do.
Nice. I did feel bad because the book I got you is massive. It's
That's great. I had a good father-son moment because my wife said, "Oh, you're gonna have to get rid of that many books," and I sort of shook my head, and my son said, "You can put them in my room, Dad."
Yeah, what a lad. Brought him up, right?
Yeah.
And now he sleeps outside. Nice. 25, Dan. Well done.
Dan's building a shed. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a big one for me next year.
I know. What we're going to do? We'll have to have a big party,
shed,
haven't we?
Yeah.
We've got to go away somewhere, mate. At least Blackpool.
At least Blackpool.
The mail will go to that shit.
Where do you want to go?
I don't know. Probably some
Benidorm.
Clapton.
Clacton will do. Southend.
Yeah, maybe we'll bump into someone with a bin. Anyway, right. Should we,
You don't say man in politics.
yeah. Yeah. And talking about other recommendations that people should check out, it's time for that part of the show. Who would like to go first? Tony, do you want the big one? Do you want to start with it, or do you want?
Yeah,
to
let's start
with
it. I think because I know it's going to be a bit of a talking point. I think as I bring up some stuff. So let me preamble into it. I've read a lot of books by comic creators who are normally more known for comics. There's a raft of people out there doing it, aren't there? You've got the pulp books of Jim Starlin. I really enjoyed them. You've got Gardner Fox's Barbarian. You've got Alan Moore and his overblown multiple adjective sentence stories. You've got Grant Morrison had a book out last year, didn't he? There's so many people doing it, but I do not think I've read a better written first few chapters in any book this year than in Frank Miller Push the Wall, My Life Writing, Drawing and the Art of Storytelling, which is it's only about 200 pages long. The cover is a Sin City homage, red, and there's that solid lack of line, black and white. It is absolutely a book that every comic creator and lover should read, whether you like Frank or not. I'm going to read you the first. There's a sort of a prologue, but then the first sentence is push the wall, defy the code, find out what you're made of, and see where you can go. Is the name of the first chapter. Each chapter is written as a lesson, which is quite interesting. Okay. Lesson 1 is chapter 1. How to start a story? ? At the ending, know your ending. I repeat, know your ending. There you go, Dan.
Dan's clapping.
Round of applause there.
Yeah, that's what he says. I know a lot of people don't do it. We've talked about it a lot, haven't we?
I've done a lot of people struggle with books with their ending. I don't know how to. Man, the ending should be the last fucking thing. The first fucking thing you do.
Yeah.
This is the ending.
Yeah. So, excuse me, because I'm going to walk through a number of his quotes in part of chatting about this book. And it goes. It's not like a densely written, and then this happened, and then this happened, and I made this movie, and I made this comic. It's not like that. There's certain comics he's made that are just not in here. You won't find them. But the flagpole books of his mostly are. Here's some of the stuff he says. Spend too much time navel gazing in a story, and the reader is lost. I love that quote.
Yeah.
Fanny around with bloody, he is the son of Grimbor, who's the son of Fartface, who is the son of Ballbag. You're going to start. It's a comic. You're going to lose people.
Yeah.
Tell a good story as concisely and dramatically as you can. I love that quote. And get your hero into trouble first, straight away. Do it fast and don't muck about. And I think that's great. I think there's stuff, it doesn't perhaps work for everyone, but for this, I think it's fucking ground, American comics getting it. He's so beautiful in the way he describes stuff, and not in that sort of overblown Mooresque sort of quality that we see. He's kind of the noir writer. Even the descriptions of his childhood in Vermont and snowy winters and summer fields and stuff like that is done with such a sort of lyrical voice. It's, in his narration, it's almost like he's narrating, the rain was pouring on the hard streets of Gotham. It's almost a bit like that. He describes stuff so well. There's a description of his father. I can't remember it for the life of me, but at the time I thought that's just perfection about describing his hardworking father. His trips to Coney Island, especially in the early pages of this, the hardness and the toughness of 70s and 80s New York. And we know that's where he lives in a lot of his stories. We kind of know that's where Basin City is really. We kind of know that's where Daredevil is. We kind of know that's where Gotham is in a lot of his stories. He talks so well of his colleagues as well. He describes, I love this, he describes John Buscema as he drew like Michelangelo and talked like a truck driver. Oh, that's just the best thing.
But also there's that. What I love about stuff like that is there's zero judgment in it. That's just a description of someone that immediately paints a picture of like,
and in your head you see it, don't you? In your head you see him drawing those live, ballet dancing moves, but like probably smoking a cigar and shouting at someone for fucking putting sugar in his tea or something. It's like, he goes backwards and forwards constantly to his love for Neil, this tough love that he received from Neil Adams. So there's the famous story of him sort of getting the bottle up to go and see Adams at Continuity Studios, and Adams saying, "No, go away. You go. Where are you from? Vermont? Go back to Vermont. You shouldn't be here. You're no good." And then eventually, on the third or fourth time, he keeps going. He keeps trying for it. He goes back and he says, "Yeah, I think you finally got something." And he picks up the phone and rings someone, and gets him a job on a Twilight Zone comic, which he says he sort of didn't really know what he was doing, but he got through it in the end. Talks a lot about contemporaries and influences. Toppy, Otomo, Lone Wolf and Cub. He loves Lone Wolf and Cub. You see that just a switch going in his head when he sees that. Kirby, Bill Watterson. He loves him. He just
Really?
This is a whole bit of it. It's just so lovely. Buscema and Adams, Hugo Pratt. Clearly very fond in later chapters of Robert Rodriguez, film director who did Sin City.
Okay, yeah.
He says, because I think Robert Rodriguez resigned from like a film directors organization because they didn't give him co-director on Sin City, and he eventually got it, which led to him directing a couple of other things as well. Talks about Upstart Studios, Chaikin and Simonson. He loves those two guys. He takes great pleasure in describing how much of an influence they were. He said Chaikin knew what was going on. Simonson knew about the new French books and stuff like that. O'Neill, Claremont, he talks about sitting on a bus on the way to a convention, and on the bus, him and Claremont just talked about ninjas for the whole bus journey, and from that they got the Wolverine miniseries, which is a big favourite of mine.
Yeah, man, I bought that relatively recently. I say recently. That's fucking lockdown. That wasn't recently
Right,
at all.
yeah, such a good book. Roger Mackenzie, Kriegstein and the Master Race. He talks about that quite a lot. You can see the influence in that. But in Kriegstein and Jim Shooter, he talks a bit about going and seeing Jim Shooter and saying to him, "I want to kill Elektra," and him expecting Shooter to say, "Get out of my fucking office," and he Shooter sort of, "Yeah, we'll give it a double length issue. Let's do it." And you're like, "Fuck, okay, all right, okay," because Shooter gets a bad name for not being like friendly to creatives, but he took the right decision there, I think. I remember reading that when it came out, and it's just such impactful.
They made money, so much money from the legacy of that moment for fucking years. Maybe there's been so many comics since now that the legacy of that has dulled somewhat. But certainly, fucking when I was, teen or whatever,
the sign not coming out the other side of the costume, that bulge in the costume, it's like
unbelievable,
brilliant.
Fucking Bullseye's a threat.
Yeah,
massive threat.
Yeah. He talks about her coming back as well, and talks about Elektra Returns. Is that it? What's the hardback?
Yeah, the big hardback book.
Yeah, and he talks about him and Lynn Varley, who he's later with. They would go to the printers and see how the colour was coming out, and then change it.
That's nuts.
That's how, that's how much they lived in it.
Yeah,
they would literally at night they would go to this printers they found where it was being printed. I love this quote: "If you are declared the Messiah, that is more dangerous than anything. Go somewhere and hide." I love that. From a man who was just beloved, he's had to pull himself back into the real world.
It's right, man. If fucking you've seen these people like the creatives that do so great, and then they start getting smoke blown up their ass, and they believe it, and then suddenly they're
absolutely.
They're
some people on their first book, and you think there's no reason why. We've seen it over the history of this podcast. Climb out on that limb. I love that phrase. And he says, "Mistakes are gifts from the God." You make a mistake, learn from it, do something with it, move on from it. If you're not enjoying your work, you're not being brave enough. Is another phrase I really liked.
Interesting.
So you're not trying something new.
Yeah.
You're stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
Again, errors are informative mistakes. There's nothing like being broken to clarify the mind. I think there's another one. Loads, just constant insight into creation of characters that we've just talked about: anti-heroes, villains, myths, modern mythology, the environment affecting it, the psychology of the person affecting it, everyday experiences, the commonalities, and using them. It wasn't a dragonfly; it was a dragon, and working on how his imagination allows him to soar into stories living in those moments, living in that other world whilst looking at things happening. Everything is fodder for a comic, he says, which shows how much he just lived in comics. You know, it wasn't the age of the internet. He was just like, this is what I need to do. You know, when they come to him and said, look, Batman's a bit rubbish at the moment, Batman's broken, we need to do something with it, Frank, what are you going to do? And from that we got DKR. He talks about Klaus Janson all the time. He says how brilliant he is. He says, I needed Klaus for this Batman work. It wouldn't have worked without him. It'll get you thinking about different facets of comic making and creation and stuff that you've never thought about before, alongside learning about Sin City and learning about how he got into Daredevil and how he got his first bit of work and how he got seduced by the movies and how he went and wrote RoboCop 2 and 3 and how it didn't work and it did work and how he loved
he's in RoboCop 2.
Yeah, he plays the sort of chemist, isn't he? But who's the dude who plays RoboCop? I forget his name now.
Peter Weller.
Peter Weller. Loved Peter Weller. Loved him.
Yeah.
He's
a fucking PhD now, Peter Weller.
I know, he's mad, isn't he? Yeah.
He says he got referred to me as Dr. Peter Weller.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a great.
His head looks like a baked potato now.
Yeah, he looks old, doesn't he? But there's a great bit. Amos wrote a chapter. I think he wrote it for the New Yorker or something about going on the set of the first RoboCop, and he gets allowed to go into the trailer to go meet Peter Weller. And the first is I walked into the trailer to meet Peter Weller, and he put down his trombone. Fucking hell, just fucking genius. Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's not a long book, guys. I know I'm making a bit of history.
I tell you what it is, Tony. Yeah. It's 7 hours 17 minutes on Audible because I'm going to start listening to it tomorrow.
Interestingly, I listened to because I was so desperate to read it, and I knew it's going to be sitting in my house on Friday. I listened to the first chapter on Audible on the way home, and
he reads it. He reads it. Yeah.
And he's an older. He's got that older voice, as we all know, but it suits it. There's such a sort of, you can see the bloke wearing a fedora. You know it, you feel it, you know. But yeah, get it. It's only short, man. It's not a long book. It's very good. There are some pages from comics in it. There's the odd, DKR page and Daredevil page and stuff like that. There's the odd thing in it. But it's not overbearing in a sort of illustrated book kind of way at all. I do like the design on it as well. So you've got the Sin City homage on the cover, but if you take off the dust jacket, it's just, can you see that?
Oh,
yes.
It's
like the rain. There's no word.
It's all in red.
Yeah, so beautiful. Yeah, really works.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, fucking hell, I think Eamon's going to go and see him and stuff like that, and to listen, some of our friends are going to go and listen to him talk, and I have listened to him talk before. He was at UCAN. I was amazed how young he was when he did DKR, which is when I saw him at UCAN. But it's just, he's the GOAT, man. He really is.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of feel like we've in the history of my life of comics, we've had, I know it's different for different people, but I kind of feel like I've had two GOATs. One's been Alan Moore and one's been Frank, and Alan's kind of walked away from us and isn't happy about us anymore, and Frank has come back with just
Frank's
the most beautifully written thing ever. I absolutely adored it. Yeah, I read it in a day. It's just so easy to read.
Yeah.
Man, when fucking read 300, I just couldn't believe it. I was absolutely like...
Yeah, it's another one.
I was like, it felt like it's a new person, a totally new creation. I was blown away.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, there you go. Frank Miller, push the wall.
That is a strong start.
Yeah.
This week, and one that's going to be, I think a lot of our listeners are going to, when they listen to the audio book.
There's already people doing it. Yeah, we're chatting.
I think I might do the audio book as well as the print.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind listening to
it. If I still took a train to work, I'd have the book, but as I'm driving, the audio book's going to be.
It'd be lovely.
That's going to be my week. Yeah. Listen to that all week. Lovely.
Do you listen to the audio? Can you listen to music while you work, Vince?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've listened to some audio books like that as well.
Okay.
As well as the angry
kickabout stuff,
angry riffs, and people telling me the smash thing.
I listened to them Throbbing Gristle this week. That was a good little.
Oh, lovely.
I tell you what, I also read. Talking of prose books, is I also read the Conan book that you got me last year, Vince. It's written by Roy Thomas, and it's kind of commentary on the first 50 issues of Conan.
What was that like?
Mate, for us, it's lovely. talking about Barry Windsor Smith and how you came across stories and what you did with
Yeah.
this. For us, it's absolutely adorable. I put it on the desk before I went out. I quite often at work now. I try and take half an hour for lunch if I can and have a coffee and read a book. And someone said, "Oh, what are you reading?" and picked it up and they were looking at it. I went, "You will not fucking understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be dry as fuck for you." But for us, it was an absolute fucking delight.
Yeah. Speaking of things that for some people and maybe not for others, Dan, what have you got?
Yeah, I saw this comic on the interwebs, and I was like, "This looks like my cup of tea." And
It does. It really does.
Blood Force, which is kind of like a homage to Image Comics, mainly Rob Liefeld comics from the 90s. What was his studio? Extreme
Studios. Yeah.
How is he in our mouths every week?
I know.
I posted up that.
I mean, that's the quote. That's the quote of the week.
He posted out that cover he did like this year of one of his characters, and it's like, this is fucking terrible.
Got the Evangeline one.
Yeah,
Evangeline,
really bad. Yeah,
fucking hell, it's laughable.
Here's the story. So Max Streamis, an alien diplomat, is under attack from the Killerch, an evil alien race, and only Blood Force, a security team, Strike Force, can hope to save the delicate negotiation process for the alien refugee status. And it all kind of goes off from there. Since it's a satirical love letter to the extreme era of 90s comics, a glorious mix of 90s intensity, artwork, absurd dialogue, and over-the-top characters. If it ain't badass, it didn't happen. So this is by where is their name? It's not appearing. This says created by Blood Force Comics. Give me a second to open up the PDF where it does say the creator's name. I also started watching their YouTube channel, which is
right.
Yeah, they go back and look at old kind of like 90s comics and do artwork and stuff. The
cool.
creator on this series is Mitch Brewer.
Okay.
He does the art, pencils, inks, and letters, does everything. And computer colors by Lee Calber. There's a whole slew of covers and pin-ups that people have done for him, which homage and pastiche comics from the age. When I first started getting into this, for me the best, we talked about it briefly before the series started, is the Doom Patrol. When they do Doom Force, they do a parody of the 90s comics, and that is still yet to be beaten even by this. It is so fucking good, so spot on. I always thought about I could do a parody of that, and when I read that Doom Force, Doom Patrol one, I was like, this has done it. This has said what needs to be said. But this is a lot of fun. I mean, it's more of a straight 90s comic as opposed to a kind of parody and satire. The only word said satire is the fact that it takes itself very seriously, as much as they did back in the day. So it reads almost like a book from that age.
Right.
Mitch's artwork is absolutely fucking lovely. He's really got a lovely style. The design work as well, just absolutely spot on. You can tell this guy really knows his stuff and has done a hell of a lot of research on 90s books. I mean, even in the backgrounds where you've got the live. I'll hold this up to the I don't think you'll be able to see it. You see
I can see that.
The background, you've got those little dots that Liefeld does where he doesn't want to draw a background, and you just get these kind of like squares with rounded edges to show something in the background. Stuff like that. So if you kind of know 90s comics, there's little nods and winks to it throughout. For me personally, I wish it was a bit more of a parody and more satire.
Okay.
It's a little bit too straight for my liking. I thought it was going to be a bit more nudge and winking at the camera and look at what we're doing. And it was more down the line 90s book, which is cool. It's fine.
I think we do have a different grip on satire in the UK than they do in the States, I think, sometimes as well. It's a bit of it's almost like it's a fucking daily event for us, isn't it? It's not quite as common there.
Right. Yeah,
we've got that history of it, haven't we? I guess.
I found this nothing more than a very mild satire.
Right.
Where I wanted like fucking the like I said, the Doom Force Patrol, where it's like it's dialed up to fucking 11. This like I'm getting smashed over the head with it. But great work otherwise. Really enjoyed the read, and I'm really glad I backed it. I got that through Kickstarter.
Nice. I'll jump on with my one, which is from Mad Cave Comics. Always good for a little discovery here or there. This one I thoroughly enjoyed. I have an issue with the name, but I'll get into that. That's just a minor thing, but we can talk about it. This is Planet Atmos Exordium. This is from Mad Cave, created by D.R. Bushnell and Tommy Lee Edwards. Story by D.R. Bushnell, Rob McEvity. Inks Andrea Cuccio, colours Giada Marchisio, letters John Workman. It doesn't say the artist, unless that's the story. Just notice it on the credits. Anyway, this what is the story of this? This is a big sort of sci-fi epic that's got a little bit more to it than I expected. Some heists succeed, some fail, and some fail so spectacularly as to set off a chain of events that irrevocably alter a planet's future after triggering security alarms in the underground stronghold of an intergalactic pharmaceutical conglomerate. Try saying that after you've had a couple. A ragtag group of thieves must use every trick at their disposal to escape and survive. The fates of legendary racing pilot Pesh Chosen and the fugitive known as Adi Aker collide, and neither of them nor Planet Atmos will ever be the same. What I read was the first volume 1, which collects issues 1 to 3 of Planet Atmos Exordium, which I believe is going to be a 12 issue, or is it? I can't remember. I mean, it's going to be now. If you go to planetatmos.com, you'll discover more about the series. Now, first about the comic. This is fucking great. I really enjoyed this. Because it's hard to tell sometimes from a sci-fi cover, and this is a little bit generic. Wasn't quite sure what was going on, but I thought I'd just take a punt on it anyway. And the first issue immediately starts off with these sort of salvagers in like these sort of, they're not huge mech suits. They're more like, and they're thinner than like Iron Man suits. They've got like sort of jet suits, and they're going through this sort of spaceship. They discover something goes bad. It's quite grisly and quite gruesome, and they're escaping at the same time as some guards and people are trying to stop them. The first issue is like a big action scene where they're basically, their suits are like, they fly about like Iron Man or like a superhero. Do you know what I mean? And it looks quite cool with the way they do these scenes and like the action of it. And when you get to the end of the first issue, the main Addie, who's the main character, crash lands on this planet, and they're trying to escape, and then she bumps into another person, and they get caught at the end of the first issue. And I thought, what the fuck is this? Because I was really impressed with how it just kept going. It just started properly. I was like, what the fuck? It does a bit of world building in the way of like the way people talk to each other, and there's certain languages, and they're using phrases, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it. You know this is a sci-fi world. You know when you're dropped into a sci-fi world, like if you dropped someone into the Dune world and they're talking about spice and all these different things, you don't need someone to sit down and go, by the way, this is this and this is this and this is this, because that's really boring, isn't it? We want to discover the story as we go on.
Yeah.
But from issue 2, you realise that this guy that stepped in to help her and stand up for her is this racing pilot, and this is in the future. There's these races involving these jet suits. There's big corporations, and it's like almost like F1. There's different people that, there's leagues and stuff. And he's hurt himself, and he says to her, I want you to get us, the way I saw you handle the chase, you're going to help me out. You're going to be my racer for the next one to get us through to the finals. And we're sort of off to the races because they don't really like each other. She's got a history. You're finding out more about her. You find out more about him because he's got that sort of rogue kind of, he's the underdog. They're the underdog sort of sports team that are just being drowned out. Their team is called Chosen. Their team Chosen because his surname's Chosen. There's lots going on. You see him drink. He's drinking quite a lot. But then there's other things going on. I don't want to spoil anything. There's these moments where people infiltrate an area and they think they're mechanics, and then they sort of mutate, and there's a big action scene. There's lots of things going on, but I didn't feel lost. I felt like the story was carrying me along, and I was learning. about like, oh, there's world building going on, like people talking in different languages, and there's shorthand, nicknames for certain people, and you
felt they were sort of standing on even ground then, yeah?
Yeah. There's immediately it's like the story never loses me, even though it's built up this world, and I was like, this is fucking. I also like the fact that at the end of the day, and it doesn't mess about. You do see a race. Do you know what I mean? Even though there's all this going on, that is almost the driving thing going through it, and it's a race where they're trying to sort of weave in and out, and the courses are really dangerous, and she gets quite violent with someone that tries to overtake her at one point, which they're like, we've never seen such sort of violent unsportsmanship, and the crowd are absolutely loving it, because it's all on vid screens and stuff like that. That's handled really well. And by the end, I got to the end of the third issue, I was like, this is cracking. It's got a sort of, I would say the art style really fits it. There is reference. I can see there's reference in it, because it's almost a realistic sort of sketchy.
Tommy Lee Edwards.
Yeah, is the name rings a bell, Tony. But what would I know?
Do you remember he did that? He did that book with Jonathan Ross. Do you remember about vampire gangsters or something?
Do you know what? That is just a light bulb that just went off in my head now. That totally makes sense.
Right.
But the suit, the suit. I didn't really know anything about this, but the design of the ships and the suits looks brilliant. And then afterwards, I discover that this is a more than just a comic. That like they built a game and stuff like that. If you go to Planet Atmos, there's a game going on with it, and you can get involved. They're developing a game to go along with it. I don't know whether it's.
Right.
I haven't jumped into that yet. One of the reasons I like it as well is because the comic doesn't feel like it's just servicing an end product. The comic is a story. The comic is still a comic. Even when you go to the website, the comic is a lot of it's front and center. I know they're developing I don't know, I think it's a video game sort of thing. I think they're doing things like that. So they're building this world for it. But the story itself is like strong. Do you know what I mean? Even if you weren't interested in the game, just read the fucking book, because the book's really good as well. I love that. Also, the website looks like it's got a bit of money going into it. You can buy loads of cool stuff. Interesting that it's like Mad Cave are doing it.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think the game is called Planet Atmos. I think that's the brand for the world. So, and my issue was Exordium. I know it says Planet Atmos Exordium. This probably would have just got lost in amongst the shuffle for lots of it. It's not really a strong title for me. That one.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No.
That's almost, if you saw like a sci-fi series in Waterstones, that's book 5. Do you know what I mean? You already know what you're getting. And along with, don't get me wrong, there's some real talent on some of these covers. They have variant covers with Dave Johnson did a variant cover for it and stuff. They got some real talent on it. And in between the issue, because the volume, you can see the different sort of covers for each one, and they don't really sort of pop and jump out as much as I thought they would, which is strange because the comic's just full of rich details that you can pull out for a cover. But it's, if this one passed you by because it almost seemed like it was generic big sci-fi, give it a go because there's more to this, and I think it's okay. I'm interested to see where it goes. The first 3 issues, I was like, fucking.
See, that's the thing, isn't it? Video game tie-ins are normally a bit of I usually leave because I think I won't understand them.
Yeah.
But if this is the opposite, then I would give this a go.
Yeah. What I liked about the website as well is if you go to the store of it. Yeah, you've got they've only got a couple of things in the store at the moment, like a print and some badge and stuff. If you scroll down, you've got a synopsis, which is different from the one I sort of read off. It's a 9-chapter comic book series. And it's XOGP. I think that's the game. A racing league in the far off world of Atmos. But then you scroll down and you've got a cast of characters. There's world building. It tells you more about the. I like it when it's not just a couple of pages. They've actually thought about this, and the art's really great. I mean, I don't want to spoil it too much by looking at the characters too much. Apart from I can see one is blatantly David Bowie. and one of them Pedro Pascal. But
Sorry, Edward's fear. Yeah.
But I was just pleasantly surprised. You know, when you realise, oh wow, I'm a couple of issues into this. You know, where's more? So Planet
that title's terrible.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the most forgettable fucking title.
I couldn't tell you what it was now. I've forgotten what it is.
Yeah. Because Planet Atmos, if that's going to be your small header, that's fine. But Exordium, it almost suffers from being too sci-fi. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's that sort of.
It's a made-up word, and it doesn't. You can't remember.
Exordium.
Yeah, especially when it was like this is about a fucking badass racing league. Do you know what I mean? What's going? When there's criminals, and of course there's politics and all these other things going on.
I know Death Race is already taken, but something along those lines.
I think this is also. I know it's a go-to for you guys as well. There's something. There's definitely something in the DNA of things like Rollerball, the Running Man. There's all of these kind of these little things being built into it, as well as like corporations and stuff. It's like there's a melting pot of lots of stuff, which actually works really well. So definitely check it out if it went under your radars.
As an aside, the when they redid Rollerball is the movie I'm most trying to forget in my whole life.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
Yeah, that's also Rollerball's the beginning of why John McTiernan went to. He got in trouble with the law. Anyway,
what's
that?
Yeah, he had such a falling out with the producers and stuff. There was phone tapping and stuff.
Is that why it all?
I
heard about that.
Got involved in like lots of other things, because I think when they made the film, it was more sort of the politics and things like that, and then the studio went, "We don't want any of this. Do this, this, and this, and this," and it just got shredded. I'm not saying it was going to be good.
No, yeah. I mean, from what I've heard, this is an absolute abomination.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Yeah.
Funny.
Right.
Anyway, and finally,
Retail Park. It's colour. It's almost slightly smaller than US comic size.
I love that cover.
I love the way they split it. So we'll talk about it. So it for those, I know you can't see it. It'd be on the Substack, but the top it's three horizontal split panels that split the page, split the cover. You've got Vincent Bell Robinson at the start. He does a comic about an alien. You've got Adam Falp in the middle, and Matt Greaves unfortunately got stuck with the feet at the bottom, but he makes the most of it. They're all interesting and fucking nuts, and they all take the idea of a UK retail park. For those in overseas, a retail park is kind of like a mall where it's like a strip mall almost. It's a bit like that. With you'll have a electrical shop, you'll have a clothing shop, you'll have a coffee shop, this sort of thing. Marks and Spencers, something like that. And it all takes that idea, and then when you get behind the doors of these places, you realise how fucking mental they are. Father and son, let's go through it. So first lead off story is Hello World by Vincent Bell Robinson. An alien gets stranded on Earth. He has to replace a man in the recurring shop that is Tat Superstore. That appears in a couple of stories. I've talked about Bell Robinson's work before. It's really interesting. He manages to do a caricature weirdness. So he's a skin-suited alien. He's like an OG alien, the old green/grey aliens with the big eyes. And he manages in this, amongst some very fucking weird shit that goes on, to make it a little bit touching about this alien that gets stuck on Earth. It's an interesting style. The middle story is father and son from our boy Falpy. A father loses his son in the shops. He goes for a wee, and then he ages, and he goes to try and find him. And in an effort to find the manager to see what's happening in Tat Superstore, he gets pushed into this sort of sci-fi machine that lays behind all of these superstores, full of people who have their heads chopped off and put into perspex boxes, and then they get stored. And that's when you get promotion, you get your head chopped off, and it's probably the most cheese dream of all the stories. Just cracking Falpy. And then you get Upscaling by Matt Greaves, which is Jeremy, who is just like mustachioed. He turns up in one of the other stories, actually, Jeremy. In the background, so they're playing off each other's stories, which I kind of like in this. And he's a quite a friendly dude, and he's in one of these sort of Curry's style superstores, a bit like the 40-year-old virgin where he works, and these female boss is telling him off for not selling enough, and he gets involved with a rather too amorous customer and problems. He ends up fucking her in the car park, just because he sort of forces him into it. And he's not like that at all. He's this sort of nice guy, and it spirals out, and you don't realise quite how much of a spiral his life has become in the final few pages. Yeah, good stuff. I like how they've done these wacky and strange and weird stories. You know, they just fucking absolutely go off on one. But at the heart of this, what they're saying, I think maybe I did meet Falpy, but I didn't ask him about this because I hadn't read it at that point. Is they're saying people work like dogs in these fucking places.
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to earn a wage, pay for your house, and the shit that goes on in these places. Perhaps not having your head chopped off or being an alien or anything like that. But they're hardworking people. So Retail Park, I think it came out and I think got its release at Arc in Peckham. Was that this week? Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, so I think it got a release there. But I met Falpy for breakfast yesterday, and he gave me a copy of his comic. It was very kind of him. But yeah, Retail Park. If you go to Underground Kingdom Comics with an X, undergroundkingdomcomics.bigcartel.com, you can get a copy. On Instagram, it's Underground Kingdom Comics with an X again on Instagram. You can find them there. There you go.
Awesome.
Nice. And there you have it, folks. Another week of non-stop comic book chatter and the usual nonsense from us three. And there will be more next week. But if there's anything you want us to discuss, or maybe you've got a comics event or anything that you want to get in touch with us about, there's several different ways you can get in touch with us, and you can follow us as well. And here are the links. You can email us awesomecomicspod. Yeah. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on social media at awesomecomicspod on Instagram, at the awesomepod on X. And you're right there, Dan, we're keeping you up.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
It's because you've been burning the candle at both ends with you party animal.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Working, thriving, surviving, all that shit.
Wow. And thank you for following us on Substack. If you did, if you haven't followed us on Substack, just search for the Awesome Comics Podcast on Substack.
I love Substack because it's not sort of uneven flooring, is it, in there?
No. Yeah.
That's the good thing about it.
You wouldn't catch me on uneven flooring.
No, me neither.
And you wouldn't sell comics on uneven flooring.
Couldn't possibly.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
But whether your flooring was even or not, where did you listen to us? Well, perhaps it was on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. Perhaps it was on the app, the Podbean app, on Apple Podcasts. Hit subscribe, give us a review, nice review. Helps the word get out about the show.
It really does.
And everything. Yeah, we really do appreciate it. Dan just switched his camera. And there's a Dragon Ball Z figure.
I love the way he got it ready to tap.
Yeah.
And when he tapped, he was looking at the camera and the other one on the other.
Yeah. Just, Dan.
I forgot that I set that up, so I plugged it in and then turned it on.
Yeah. It was unreal. If only you could see it, listeners. Yeah. That's the joy.
Maybe one day.
But this is an audio medium. So perhaps you listened on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What other networks are we on, Tony?
We're on the Pot Network. It explodes, and then you can play Xbox.
That was a pre-pod joke that had me laughing for a good 5 minutes.
Did I ever tell you that I used to live in the Black Forest? It was tough. It was tough living in the ghetto.
That's funny because it's safe and I can use that joke tomorrow.
I'd knock on the door from the neighbour. I said, Dan, I just finished that jigsaw puzzle. Took me 17 days. He goes, and on the box it said 4 to 5 years.
I don't want to laugh at these listeners, but it's good stuff. It's good.
You tell we're both dads.
It's quality content, and that's what you can get this time next week on the Awesome Pod. Thank you to the Slackers for getting in touch. We're on Slack.
Thanks, guys.
Get in touch if you want to join the wonderful community of people that like.
A couple of new
comics.
people this week, actually, haven't we?
Comics collab and more. So, everyone is welcome. Everyone is,
and it's free.
And it's brilliant and it's free. So please get in touch with us to join up there. You can support the show by getting some merch at acpgear.redbubble.com. Go on, get a badge.
Yeah, that'll do us a favour. Go on, get a mug or something.
Yeah, we haven't got a sponsor.
Yeah.
So
let's mention it loads of times so the AI thing picks up sponsor, looking for sponsor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
sponsor,
yeah.
sponsor.
We-
The amount of times I said
Spencer.
fucking tone of voice in this episode, that's all it's going to fucking reference. Anyway,
How about this then? Do strippers shit at work? Maybe it'll pick up on that.
Possibly.
A question Dan posed to me earlier.
Yeah, I want to see if the AI picks that up for the chapter headings when it automatically does that. That'd be brilliant. But
Let's see if I can remember that in the Substack subheader. I don't know.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, because you did one, and people thought you genuinely probably thought you genuinely went to the hospital for your testicles. Although I want to know how you came up with that, Dan. Because when you went here, Tony said, "Oh, he's having an inch off." Now, in my mind, that's not a bollock.
No.
Kieran was mentioning I was getting scrotal surgery, and I think that bit of audio got clipped at the episode. So he did tell me about it, so I thought I'll add that in.
Good idea.
Wow. That's the sort of high quality content you can expect from us next week.
Everything is fodder for comics, as we heard earlier.
Yeah.
The only time I've had scrotal surgery is when I had a piercing and I was going down the slide at Butlins on the Black Hole, and it was unplanned surgery.
They're just fucking laughing to themselves. That's what happens at the end. Where can people find us online, etc., Tony?
Neverwriteanything.com or Tony Ez, EZ on Substack.
Dan.
You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic, and you can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com.
Nice. You can find me on social media at Jester Diablo. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. It was another fun one. So stay tuned next week, because we might be talking about a long-standing character in the comics game.
What a complicated character as well.
Complicated indeed, and it's going to be a fun chat. But until then, have a brilliant week. Wherever you are in the world, we hope you're doing all right. You're happy, healthy, and enjoying the comics that you're making, and reading, and keep making those cool comic characters that we want to read, and that's what it's all about. So from everyone here in ACP Towers, myself, Tony, and Dan, have a great week. And oh god, what's the other thing they should do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
He's done it again. He switched the camera. Oh, and I missed it. I tried to screenshot it, listeners, and I missed it. Bugger.
I'll do it again. Ready?
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Look at that. Dan, you got to do it again, Dan. Right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Quality content.